Hi, Room 27 friends and all readers. Here is a story for the day. Today is a special day. Today is the Jewish New Year. This story is called GERSHON'S Monster. It's written by Eric A. Kimmel, or excuse me, it's retold by Eric A. Kimmel, and it's illustrated by Jon J. Muth. It's beautiful. This was a gift from my father a lot of years ago, and I think he really liked the lesson of this story. So let's see if we can find the lesson. I apologize if I pronounce anything incorrectly. Hopefully I will not. The city of Constanza stands on the shores of the Black Sea. Many years ago, a man named Gershon and his wife Vega lived there. Now, Gershon was not always the best person he could be. True, the mistakes he made were not huge. They were common, ordinary things. A broken promise, a temper lost for no reason, a little untruth told here and there. But unlike most people, Gershon never regretted what he did. He never apologized or asked anyone's forgiveness. This way of behaving became a habit. Gershon paid no attention to how he treated others, and he didn't care. For he could shed his mistakes and thoughtless acts like a dog sheds hair. Every Friday, Gershon swept them up and tossed them into his cellar. Then once a year, on Rosh Hashanah, he stuffed them into a sack, dragged the enormous bundle down to the sea, and tossed it in. But selfishness and thoughtless deeds are never disposed of so easily. There's always a price to pay, as Gershon was about to learn. Now, Gershon was a baker, an important man in town, but he and his wife were childless. They wanted a child more than anything in the world. One day, Gershon's wife heard of a Zadok, a wonder rabbi, who lived in the town of Kadi. "Perhaps the Zadok can give us a child," Vega said to her husband. "I will go to Kadi and see," Gershon answered. Gershon harnessed his horse to the wagon and set out. The journey took many days. Gershon asked a stranger how to get to the Zadok's house. Of course, he did not say thank you. When Gershon arrived, he barged through the door without knocking. The Zadok was in his study. "My wife and I want a child," said Gershon. "I hear you can help us. Name your price, I'll pay." The Zadok frowned and said, "One does not buy children the way one buys chickens, but your wife is a good woman. For her sake, I will see if anything can be done." The Zadok closed his eyes and began to pray. Gershon fidgeted impatiently. The clock on the wall ticked away the minutes. At last, the Zadok opened his eyes. "Be thankful for all you have. Do not ask for more." "What kind of answer is that?" Gershon cried. If God cannot give me a child, at least tell me the reason why." The Zadok's eyes searched the depths of Gershon's soul. "Do you think you could live so thoughtlessly forever? The sea cries out because you have polluted her waters. God is angry with you. Accept God's judgment. Your recklessness will bring your children more sorrow than you can imagine." "I will take that risk," said Gershon selfishly. "Foolish man, I will do what you ask, but you will regret it." The Zadok took a piece of parchment and wrote upon it with a quill pen. After the ink dried, he folded the parchment in half and gave it to Gershon. "Have your wife wear this around her neck. In 1 year's time, she will give birth to twins, a boy and a girl. They will be all you desire. They will be with you for 5 years. And then, Gershon asked, what strange prophecy is this? Something is going to harm my children. Tell me now, so I can protect them. You cannot protect them, the Zadok said. On the morning of their 5th birthday, they will go down to the sea. Enjoy your precious children while you can. Do not. Gershon threw himself at the Zadok's feet. What will happen to the sea? Gershon pleaded. At least give me a sign. Zadok spoke voice. Day you put 2 stockings on 1 foot and storm around the house looking for the missing stocking is the day your children will. I can say no more. Gershon kissed the Zadok's hand, holding lives. I will remember your words and be watchful. Furthermore, I will for all my wrongdoings. Zadok shook his head. You will forget everything as soon as you return home. Go now, unhappy man. I can do nothing for you. Page stuck. Jon returned home. As the Zadok had predicted, he soon forgot everything except for the promise of the children. Fega wore the charm faithfully. In a year's time, she gave birth to twins. They were the most beautiful children his wife had ever seen. They named the boy Joseph and the girl Sarah. The twins grew healthy and strong. They spent whole summers at the beach, running on the sand and swimming in sparkling water. And Gershon went on behaving as recklessly as ever, sweeping his thoughtless act to his cellar. And once a year on Rosh Hashanah, he stuffed them into a sack and dragged them down to the sea. 5 years passed. One August morning, Gershon awoke with the sun pouring into his window. It was scarcely 8 o'clock, yet the air hung heavy with heat. Gershon reached for his clothing. He pulled on his shirt, then his trousers, and finally his left stocking. The heat made his head swim. He sat down on his bed to collect himself, and without thinking, he took his right stocking and drew it over his left foot. Then he started to put on his shoes. "Where is my other stocking?" Gershon grumbled when he noticed that his right foot was bare. "Who has taken it?" he roared as he stormed through the house. Fega laughed. "No one has taken your stocking. Look at your feet. You've put 2 stockings on 1 foot. Gershon's face suddenly turned pale as he remembered the Zadok's prophecy. "Where are the children?" he cried frantically. "At the seashore, where they always are." As soon as Gershon heard the words "at the seashore," he ran out the door. "Come back!" Fega cried. "You forgot your shoes." But Gershon had no time for shoes. He tore down the path to the beach. "Dear God," he cried, "let me not be too late." And then he saw them, Sarah and Joseph, playing at the water's edge. Gershon cupped his hands to his mouth and shouted, "Come away from there!" But he was out of breath, and his voice did not carry far. The children waved and went back to their play. Sarah chased Joseph into the water. All at once, the sky grew dark, as if a cloud had covered the sun, but it was no cloud. Gershon saw it rising from the sea, an immense black monster covered with scales like iron plates. On each scale was written one of Gershon's misdeeds. "Father, save us!" the children cried out as the monster came toward them. Very scary. Gershon ran as he had never run before. He pushed the children aside and threw himself down before the monster. Looking up into the creature's glittering eyes, he pleaded for forgiveness. I know what you are. You are my pride and selfishness coming back to me, just as the Zadok foretold. Please, have mercy. Spare my children. Why punish them for my thoughtless deeds? Take me instead. For the first time in his life, Gershon truly felt sorry for all his wrongdoings. Heartbroken, he kneeled before the monster and awaited his end. But it never came. The monster rose into the air like a great cloud. Its scales melted into raindrops that fell like a summer shower, cleansing the sea. Gershon carried Sarah and Joseph home to breakfast. The whole family blessed their food and offered thanks for God's mercy. Then Gershon went down to his cellar and scrubbed each crack and corner until every trace of his old ways were gone. He scrubbed his soul, too, until it shined like a pair of Sabbath candlesticks. Never again did he throw another bundle into the sea, and never again did he see the monster. When Joseph and Sarah grew up, they made sure to tell this story to their children every Rosh Hashanah, as I am now telling it to you. Remember it, for if you keep your soul clean, your best self will always shine through as surely as raindrops cleanse the sea. Happy Rosh Hashanah.